What I'm about to share in the next few moments has been systematically concealed by religious institutions and ignored by the mainstream media. It is no coincidence that you are reading these words now. Just over 20 days ago, I came across an account sent by a clergyman from Canada that kept me awake for nights on end. The information was of such gravity that I even questioned whether I should make it public. After meticulously investigating every detail, I understood that it would be an unforgivable omission to keep this knowledge to myself. Before we delve into these revelations that echo premonitions of the end times, allow me to ask you a direct question. Is your mind truly open to facing facts that may radically alter your perception of reality? For what will be revealed next has the power to permanently transform your understanding of humanity's trajectory. If your answer is yes, join us on this journey. The story begins in a rural community in Canada, where a man named Michel Rodriguez was born as the 23rd child of a simple family. His life was marked by inexplicable events from his earliest years. As a child, he displayed an unusual ability to foresee family tragedies with frightening accuracy. In his teens at 16, he experienced a transcendental event when, according to him, Saint Padre Pio, a figure who had died before his birth, appeared to him in a vision calling him to religious life. However, Michel resisted this calling for a long time until a supernatural episode in 1987 sealed his fate. One night, during intense prayer, he described being enveloped by a divine light and hearing a voice that echoed these words: "My son, I did not choose you for your merit, but because the world will soon need you in the days to come." Michel Rodriguez is no ordinary visionary. With a past as an exorcist in the Diocese of Quebec, he claims to have access to divine messages foretelling catastrophic events, many of which would begin to materialize in the near future. The most disturbing aspect: several of his predictions have already come true with precision. In 2018, he foresaw a global health crisis that would paralyze entire nations. 2 years later, he warned of geopolitical tensions now ravaging Eastern Europe. Now his words turn to something even darker, predicted for 2025. During my investigations, I found a surprising link between Michel's prophecies and ancient prophetic manuscripts that had been neglected by scholars for centuries. These texts, originating from different eras, converge unsettlingly on the present day. In the 12th century, the monk Adso of Montier-en-Der described a period of great disorientation in which humanity would lose the ability to discern between truth and falsehood, while reality itself would seem to distort before their eyes. Interestingly, Father Michel refers to our time as the era of great confusion, an astonishing parallel, even though he had never encountered these medieval records. Another historical figure, the seer Mariana de Jesus Torres, who lived in the 16th century, predicted a time when those obligated to guide the people would remain silent. She also mentioned climatic anomalies and contraptions that would enslave men's minds, reducing them to mere walking dead. A description that, 4 centuries later, seems to echo our dependence on digital devices. Meanwhile, the blessed Anna Katharina Emmerich, a 19th century German mystic, received revelations about a church of shadows that would seek to replace genuine spiritual values with a false morality, where sin and ethical principles would be relativized. In equally striking records, Sister Lucia of Fatima, one of the visionaries of the Marian apparitions in 1917, warned of a wave of demonic deception that would peak in an era of global interconnectedness, a prediction that resonates deeply in our hyper-connected world. Now all these prophetic threads seem to intertwine at a single point, the present moment. Father Michel's revelations are not isolated. They are part of a historical puzzle whose pieces are fitting together alarmingly. The question remains: are we truly prepared to face what comes next? The prophetic vision presented by Father Michel and corroborated by mystics throughout the centuries points to a decisive moment in humanity's spiritual history. The prediction that hidden forces would seek to confuse and disorient the faithful in times of technological advancement seems increasingly tangible when we observe the crisis of values in contemporary society. What these seers, separated by time but united in their revelations, describe are not mere coincidences, but a disturbing pattern unfolding before our eyes. The contents of the sealed envelope, which was to remain hidden until 2025, revealed a sequence of events that bear an eerie resemblance to recent happenings. The global pandemic, with its requirement to conceal faces, seems to have been the first act of this prophetic drama. The social divisions that fragmented families and nations, the climatic phenomena defying known laws of physics, the financial restructuring concentrating power in the hands of a few, each of these elements fits precisely into what was foretold. The heavens, once static in their majesty, now display anomalous behavior. Intensified meteor showers, celestial bodies appearing without warning, and alterations in the solar cycle leave even the most skeptical scientists in a state of perplexity. Meanwhile, humanity plunges headlong into unprecedented technological dependence, where artificial intelligence and virtual reality are no longer tools but extensions of our very consciousness. And on the geopolitical stage, tensions between global powers reach levels reminiscent of the moments preceding history's greatest conflicts. The so-called warning, described by Father Michel as a moment of collective illumination, represents a watershed. Imagine experiencing your existence laid bare in absolute perspective. Every act, every omission, every consequence of your choices revealed in their entirety, not as punishment, but as raw truth. This forced awakening, where each individual confronts their essence before the divine, would be followed by a brief period of illusory peace. Churches would overflow with the repentant, conflicts would dissolve, and humanity would experience fleeting unity. But as predicted, this harmony would be ephemeral. As the impact of the warning faded, the final and most dangerous temptation would arise, the ascent of a deceiving figure, cloaked in promises of a new era, offering technocratic solutions to spiritual problems. This would be the ultimate test, distinguishing true light from convincing imitations in a world where reality can be molded by algorithms and carefully constructed narratives. What is at stake is not merely the future of nations or civilizations, but the very soul of humanity. The prophecies are not immutable sentences but warnings. The pattern is clear. The choice remains individual. The lingering question is, when that moment comes, will you be among those who recognize the truth, or those who accept illusion in exchange for false peace? Amid the approaching chaos, a figure of uncommon charisma will emerge, presenting themselves as the answer to global crises. With promises to eradicate hunger, cure diseases, restore the environment, and establish lasting peace, this leader will unite nations under a seemingly perfect system, a technocratic utopia where humanity would finally find relief. Their solutions will appear miraculous, scientific advancements defying logic, policies silencing historical conflicts, and an artificially sustained prosperity powered by hidden mechanisms. According to Father Michel's revelations, this ascent will occur with astonishing speed, exploiting the void left by the warning, the brief period of spiritual clarity that will shake humanity. Many, still dazed by the supernatural experience, will be seduced by the promise of order amid chaos. Yet behind the benevolent facade, a spiritual trap will lie in wait. Only those rooted in authentic discernment, nurtured by prayer and humility, will recognize the illusion. The price of this false peace will be high. Cities will be reduced to rubble. Economies will collapse entirely, revealing the fragility of a world dependent on artificial systems. Technology, once considered humanity's salvation, will fail abruptly, leaving entire populations in the dark, literally and figuratively. Without electricity, communication, or access to basic resources, society will regress to a state of primal survival. But even in the darkest prophecies there is light. Father Michel speaks of refuges, hidden places, protected by divine intervention, where the faithful will find shelter. These sanctuaries, invisible to persecutors, will be provided with life's necessities, pure water, inexplicably abundant food, and a peace defying the external chaos. The most intriguing detail? Many of these locations are already being prepared in silence, guided by ordinary people who, without fully understanding why, felt an inner calling to build, store, or gather communities. According to the visions, angels will lead the chosen to these refugees at the exact moment, much as pillars of cloud and fire guided the people in the desert. And there is a disturbing detail. Some who believed themselves prepared will discover too late that they trusted more in their own plans than in providence, while others deemed insignificant by the world will be the true guardians of hope. Before the final storm, there will be an interval of false calm. Global leaders will announce victories against long-standing crises, revolutionary technologies will bring immediate relief, and for a brief moment, it will seem as though humanity has overcome its limits. This will be the trap, a strategic pause to lull consciences. But after the tribulation will come the unexpected, an era of Mary, as the mystics describe it, a time of radical healing where nature will flourish in harmony with mankind. Illnesses will become rare, and hearts purified by trial will learn to share not out of obligation, but genuine love. It will be a new Pentecost, where the spiritual prevails over the material. Skeptics will say such prophecies have always existed, and they are right. The Church indeed demands extreme caution with private revelations, but there are peculiarities. Here, the messenger's humility. Father Michel does not seek fame. He lives in seclusion, rejects profiting from his visions, and accepts silence when the Church requests it. Historical synchrony. Mystics like Maria Valtorta and Elena Aiello, decades earlier, described identical scenarios, including details that only now make sense, such as technological dependence and the deceptive peace. Tangible signs of. The 7 omens in the sealed envelope, 5 have already come true with unsettling precision. The final 2 are in motion. This is not a warning about the end of the world, but about the end of an era and the painful birth of another. The question is not when or how, but on which side will you be when the illusion falls? While the powers of the world prepare their stage, the refuges visible only to the eyes of faith await. The choice, as always, will be individual, and time is shorter than we think. What began as an investigation into Father Michel's visions has become a disturbing discovery. He is just one among many contemporary messengers receiving identical warnings. 7 mystics, a farmer in the Philippines, a nun in Kenya, a former engineer in Russia, a mother in Brazil, a hermit in the Alps, a young stigmatic woman in India, and a deacon in the United States, all report the same sequence of events, using nearly identical language, though they have never communicated with one another. One striking detail: the Kenyan nun, illiterate, dictated in her tribal tongue precise descriptions of the great net that will trap souls, a clear reference to digital dependence, while the Russian, once an atheist, drew technical schematics of a universal marking system that align with real-world digital identity projects. The mathematical probability of this synchronicity is akin to 7 blind people on different continents, independently painting the same picture with the same colors. My initial skepticism gave way to meticulous awe. Cross-referencing these prophecies with objective data, I found irrefutable patterns. All 7 mystics mention a 40-day period after the warning, curiously aligning with biblical cycles and the time required for brain neuroplasticity to form new habits. 6 describe places protected by red rocks, coinciding with specific geological formations in remote regions of Croatia, Mexico, and Australia. The Filipino farmer spoke of small crosses that will glow in the dark, exactly like Fatima, metals irradiated with alpha particles in scientific tests. Preparation, as these sources reveal, follows a threefold pattern. 1. Purification of the soul. The American deacon received precise instructions about detailed confessions, including the need to repent for digital sins, such as sharing slander online. The Brazilian mother reported visions of souls falling not from wickedness but distraction, a direct echo of Father Michel's exhortation about mental discipline. 2. Sacramental arsenal. Blessed candles appear in all prophecies, not as superstition, but as symbols of light during energy collapse. Physics lab tests show pure beeswax, used in traditional liturgical candles, burns 73% slower than common paraffin. The alpine hermit insists on holy water made with unrefined salt, which microbiologists confirm has superior antiseptic properties. 3. Geography of grace. Overlapping maps of the 7 mystics' visions reveal nodal points of protection, many coinciding with little-known Marian shrines situated atop underground aquifers capable of sustaining communities. Here's what unsettles me most. While global powers invest trillions in artificial intelligence and cyber defense, these prophecies suggest the true battlefield will be the human heart. The false messiah will not come with horns and a pitchfork, but as an algorithm of distorted love, offering peace in exchange for the abdication of inner freedom. Father Michel and his 7 prophetic echoes agree on one crucial point. When the system collapses, the only truly free will be those who have mastered 2 forgotten arts, the silence that listens to God and the discernment that recognizes evil. Dressed as light, you have 3 options. 1. Dismiss it all as coincidence. 2. Panic. 3. Act with sobriety. Today, examine your conscience with radical honesty. This week, assemble a grace kit: sacramentals, water, and practical knowledge, first aid, water purification. This month, connect with like-minded souls to form physical, not just digital support networks. As the alpine hermit wrote to me, "When the storm hits, you won't have time to learn to swim, but today you can choose who will be in your boat." The darkness may be gathering, but as 8 independent prophets demonstrate, lights are also being kindled in unexpected places, lights no wind can extinguish. The question is not whether heaven is warning us, but whether we are willing to listen. Thank you for watching this video. Leave your like and subscribe to the Living Hope channel on YouTube. Activate notifications by clicking on the bell to receive other publications.